Hey guys, welcome back to another video. We're live again. I literally only have about 20 minutes for this video because I am getting on with my clients today starting at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in the US where I am, and I'm just getting myself set up. So I wanted to talk very quickly. I just filmed a video just now, a few minutes ago, on how circumstances literally never matter and they'll always change. But with this particular video, I did point out, and it's only like 10 minutes after editing, maybe it'll be a few minutes less, but hopefully there's no editing and I could just go straight through, add some things and upload it. But when you are approaching things from a pure place and your motivation and your intentions, like in other words, your agenda, you don't have an agenda. Everything is coming from a pure, natural, loving place, whether it's a romantic relationship or something related to work. I'm saying that you are doing things from that loving place, love for other people, love for life just being harmonious. When you're in that kind of state, even if a situation appears to be against you, if you know that things will shift and change and work out in your favor when you are coming from a pure place. In other words, Neville Goddard has a quote on this, which I don't have handy, but basically it's that you're not approaching things from a deceptive place, that you know that whatever the situation is, and it's usually always people are involved, so it's always specific people that are usually involved, unless it's a very broad and general thing. When you are doing things consciously, deliberately manifesting from a good place, then you know automatically that you want what is the highest and best for you and everyone else, but it will work out in your favor. It always will work out in your favor. When people comment on my videos and they say things, and they're always, as many times as many videos and as much literature that you may read that says circumstances don't matter, when you still comment and you continue to write about your circumstance, all you're doing is empowering the circumstance. You're giving your attention and energy and awareness to the circumstance. And when we give our attention, energy, and awareness to anything, good or bad, that expands it, it grows it, it feeds it. It's that simple. I think I mentioned on a video once, there's a Native American Cherokee story of an elder who is teaching his grandson basically kind of this, that within all of us, we all have an evil and a good wolf. And the grandson said, well, which one will win? And he said, the one that you feed. The evil one is, and don't take this wrong when I say evil and good, I'm not saying that you're evil, but one is filled with like things like ego, deception, anger, fear, sadness, closing itself off. This is completely, by the way, I'm not literally saying this word for word. This is just kind of off the cuff. The other one is full of purity, good intentions, love, trust, kindness, compassion, empathy. So basically, whichever one that you decide to be when you wake up in the morning is the one that will win. You will be the version of you that you focus on. And the people in your life will be the version of them that you focus on. You can bring out the best or the worst in anybody. Okay, so I would approach things from a place of purity, a place of pureness, a place of, again, not deception, never wishing for anything unless it is harmonious, unless it's in love. Okay. So let me just see if anybody's come on. I literally, like I said, I only have a few minutes. Black Wolf, nice to catch my first live chat. Awesome. It's good to have you, Black Wolf. Where are you from? If anybody is on, I would come on pretty quickly and say hi, tell me where you're from. If you have any questions, ask quickly, only because I have a session coming up in about 23 minutes, which means I'm going to need a good 5 minutes probably to do some breathing or so before the session starts. I also wanted to ask you guys if there was any interest in some of the physical breathing exercises that I do when I am triggered and when I'm spiraled. I was thinking yesterday that I might actually, I had a session and I was showing one of my clients something that can be done if she's in kind of a physical flight or fight or flight. What is it? Fight, flight, fear kind of, if she's in that energy. Hey, Drew from Philadelphia. Good to see you. So it's like these intense kind of, well, they're not that intense. It's not really that, but it's this physical and breathing that I've been doing for years that always helps me kind of get regulated. It helps, it just helps with anxiety, unless I'm triggered with something chemically like from caffeine or sugar, which is why I try to be very careful of what I put in my system. Those kinds of things, you almost, it's kind of hard. You want to flush your system out with a lot of water, work out if you can, but sometimes when it's chemical, it's really hard to get yourself out of those kinds of spirals, because it's just something that's in your system that has to be worked. You know, you have to get it out of your system. But if there is ever any interest, just comment down below, because I probably will think about doing those videos later on in the week, possibly. So KB London, hey, lovely Kim. Hey, KB, caught you live too. I'm in London. Awesome. I want to go to London someday. Black Wolf, the Bahamas, currently in Florida. Cool. Awesome. It's good to have you guys. So when I just did this video, I was telling a story about how when I had my retail business, which I basically manifested, I would have these experiences with customers that when I knew that I was coming from a good place, coming from a pure place, and not trying to control anybody, like we're not manifesting. Guys, get really clear about this. Manifesting isn't like people aren't puppets. We're not trying to control other human beings. You can't control other human beings. You are handing yourself over and trusting and surrendering basically to higher self, God, whatever, however you want to label. And your ego, your personality is just going to basically stand down. Like you're not going to allow your ego to control things, because when you do, that's when we tend to mess things up. But you're never controlling anything, and you want to come to things from or come at things from a pure motivation, a pure place. And things will always, literally always work themselves out when you approach them from that place. Okay. So channel no more. I have a question. So is it possible to manifest without any action? This is a very good question. The only time I take action is when I get triggered and feel pushed to take an action, which is usually a boundary I make. There's always action involved. Always, always, always. But sometimes inspired action is known, and sometimes you don't realize that you're actually doing inspired action. But inspired action is basically when you have a burning desire to do something, and it's not coming from fear, worry, or doubt, or trying to control anything. It's like a burning desire, which again is from that pure places, which I started this video talking about. When it's conscious, you can consciously take whatever action is kind of being communicated to you through your heart. It's not so much in your mind. It's God communicates to us through our hearts. So through your feelings. I mean, obviously in your mind, you might have an idea to do something, but it's not that a voice is going to come in and say, do this, do this, do that. It's not that. It's just like you may have an urge to reach out to somebody to talk to them about something. And specifically, you may have an urge to, I don't know, there's like so many different things. Like, for example, if I am motivated to say or do something in one of my videos, it most likely is going to be an action that's somehow going to be a bridge to the end of something that I'm focusing on, how I want my channel to grow, for example, right? You can have inspired action when it involves a specific person, a romantic specific person, your other half that you really love. If you're currently in separation, you might have a burning desire to look at something or to reach out and say something, but you should know the difference. whether it is inspired action or ego. If it's from ego, that you're trying to get some sort of a reaction, that you're trying to change their mind, that you're trying to just feel things out and see, you know, those things are not really the kind of inspired action that we're talking about when we're talking about consciously creating. You want it to be a thing, like if I have a burning desire to reach out to somebody, whether it's a friend, a family member, you know, when I was a boss with employees, or with, you know, either somebody I was dating in my past or like my specific person, if I have a burning desire within me, sometimes I'll feel it and I'm like, this is inspired action. I can feel it. And for people who say you don't know when inspired action happens, they're 100% wrong. And take this from somebody who's been consciously creating and deliberately manifesting since 2005, 2006. I have walked the walk, period. Sometimes you do know what inspired action feels like. Sometimes you don't. But if it comes from a burning desire, a pure place, there's no deception involved at all. It is literally so unconditional and so pure. And then you release, like you just don't worry about what the outcome is, because the inspired action is all that you are guided to do. Then you do it, period. You do it, but you don't worry about what comes back. You just don't worry about it, because you know that this is a bridge. This is a bridge to whatever it is that's in your end, whatever the end is that you trust in. And you should trust in your end, because it is a thing. It already exists, and it already existed before you even became aware of whatever the desire is. Okay. Does that make sense? I hope that helps. Karen, hi from Spain. Kim, hi, Karen. I wanted to know if it's necessary to focus on self-concept in order to manifest. It's not necessary, because I did manifest for many, many years of my life without, well, actually, let me retract that. You don't have to know these terms like self-concept. You don't have to, these are all catchphrases, but you do have to have the trust in knowing that manifesting is real, and manifesting isn't like a magic trick. It's not a spell. You're not like invoking any kind of weird spirits out there or anything like that. Manifesting, all it is, when you're consciously creating and deliberately manifesting, all it is that you really have come to realize the fact that your consciousness is creating your reality, that thinking equals experience. And that is what manifesting literally is. It's just thinking. So clear your mind and purify your thoughts and think only the highest and best for you and everyone else, knowing that when you do this, that you are powerfully creating, because we were all created to create in God's image. So that kind of self-concept, I was very much aware of before I knew it was self-concept. Like, in other words, I knew that I needed to trust and surrender in this. I knew that I was powerfully creating. I understood that my imagination was creating, because I was making a conscious choice to always be conscious and aware of noticing how my thoughts were actually becoming things in my reality. So when you continue to connect the dots like that, you end up having unmistakable proof. I call it unmistakable spiritual proof. It proves to you, and it increases your confidence. It doesn't mean that life is going to become perfect. I had plenty of ups and downs. I had plenty of things happen that I absolutely loved, that were magical and amazing. And, I just knew it was God's presence in my life, that, he was just, and it's not a he, because God isn't a gender or anything, but you know what I'm saying, that miracles will happen. Things will happen very quickly. Things will work themselves out. It would feel magical. It's not magical at all, but you will start to see, and that in itself will increase your confidence. But one of the mistakes that people make while we're talking about this, was it Karen that said it? Yeah. You don't want to fall into the victimhood of fear, of always worrying that, oh my God, I'm thinking these bad thoughts, so now these bad things are going to happen. It's not the thoughts so much that are creating, it's your belief in the thoughts that are creating, because your belief in the thoughts means that you're interacting with the thoughts, you're engaging with the thoughts. When you're engaging with the thoughts and you're really aware of the thoughts, now you are identified with the thoughts. Okay. Does that make sense? I'm not saying, so you can have unconscious thoughts that are also creating, but those are usually from fears, wounds, and most of our wounds that are creating in our lives, and this is in romantic, non-romantic, even work-related things, are either from childhood. Unfortunately, it's almost always from childhood that things happened and we perceived, or it could actually be that things were done to us that taught us, and this is all a lie, that we weren't worthy, that we weren't enough, that we weren't good enough, and that we don't deserve to have love, that we will be abandoned if we look at our caretakers, and when our caretakers are saying and doing certain things, those things make a very deep impression on us, as many of you guys already know. And without realizing it, we are usually in those feelings and in those wounds. And those are kind of, when you have a computer and your computer system is running very slow, it's not optimal, and you suddenly look down and you see that there are like 1,000 little windows open, and you just forgot to close the windows. If you think of those as programs running that are draining all of the energy of your computer, think of those as being in your life, that these are all the wounds that are actually, you're in your wounds, not realizing it. And you're basically living your life with this filter on. All of these programs are running in the background that you're not enough, you're not worthy, he's not going to love you, she's not going to love you, if you fall in love, this is going to hurt, they're going to do exactly what this person did to you, don't fall in love, don't trust this, if you let yourself go, you're going to be hurt, you're going to be abandoned, you're going to be cheated on, they're going to leave you, you're not enough. Like those are those 1,000 programs that you have open on your computer that's sucking all of your your memory and stuff. That's kind of what happens with us. We have all of these programs running, and that's our filter, and we are literally not even realizing it, but we are sabotaging ourselves when true love comes into our life. We are perceiving things differently than what they actually are. And guys, I have so many clients, and I have so many clients like in the past week and a half, I've had so much success with my clients, really seeing amazing movement. And I'm so proud of them, because if they don't do the work, I can talk till I'm blue in the face. If they don't actually do the work, nothing's going to change. But when you actually make this conscious choice to you take these wounds of abandonment, fear of rejection and stuff that you placed on the person that you love and the person that really truly loves you. And when you start to separate, like, oh, okay, yeah, this actually wasn't them. They actually do have pure love for me, and I have pure love for them. But I had this fear of abandonment. I had this rejection wound, or I had this, maybe that and then some. Maybe I also thought that because I was cheated on before, this love can't be real. This love couldn't be pure like they say that it's pure. They're going to hurt me. The other shoe is going to drop. Those things you didn't realize you projected onto the person. And so, you have to make a conscious choice to separate the wound from the person. Okay. That went into more than what you asked, Karen, but hopefully that helped other people too. I literally have 4 minutes, so I'm going to go through these questions really quickly because then I got to go. Channel no more. I would like to not have to make any more boundaries, as I've made enough, and wonder if I can make progress if I focus on detaching and not taking action. You don't ever have to take action. Like I said, if it's truly inspired action, you don't have a choice. You're going to do it unless your ego gets involved when you're in the middle of it. For example, I'll give an example. I had inspired action that was burning in me for probably a couple months to say something to the person that I love. And it was burning. And everything that I experienced over the time was telling me to, text and just say this. And every time I wrote it out in my phone, I wouldn't send it because then my ego got involved. So in other words, I didn't send it until I knew that I could send it without my ego getting involved, period. I wanted it to come from a pure, unconditional, loving place. Okay, so you don't have to take action, but if you are truly coming from a very confident, stable, grounded, pure love place, like you are purely in your empowerment, the action that you take that you're going to be inspired to do is going to be coming from that. So it's going to be the right action. And again, sometimes you might know that it's related to whatever this is, and sometimes you won't, but it will be burning, and you'll either, just don't stop yourself if it's truly coming from a good place, not from your ego. Okay, channel no more. Carolina, hi from Germany. Hey, would you say that when we are consistently focusing on our financial freedom, even though it is not yet there, it will come despite decades of only getting by due to conditioning? Well, if you truly believe that you will have financial freedom and that it will come, and you know that, and you don't continue to get sucked into the fear, worry, and doubt of lack, meaning day to day when circumstances happen like unexpected bills or whatever, you just feel like you don't have enough. If you can just continue to stay in that place of knowing that you have more than enough, knowing that you're always taken care of, and knowing that you're fully secure, yeah, don't worry about the decades, because that doesn't matter, because decades of feeling like you're only getting by, that was just caused by the belief that you were only going to get by. Does that make sense? The other thing when it comes to financial freedom too, by the way, is that sometimes your road to financial freedom, and I experienced this, and someday I'll do a video on it, I just don't want to trigger people, but I'm a diehard, like I'm a believer, and my financial road to freedom included losing it all, but trusting after like my whole, everything was just, it was like nuclear, like boom, like I just trusted and I knew it's okay. God's got my back. Like, I know I'm going to be taken care of. I know I'm going to be provided for. And while in the days and the hours, there were sleepless nights, there was pain, there was worry, there was anxiety, I always knew everything was going to be okay, and everything was okay. So sometimes this is what happens. The road to the financial freedom, or the road to the ultimate love, or the road to anything that you're manifesting, the circumstance might look very, very dark. It might seem bleak, but you continue to trust the circumstances. And that's where some people get tripped up, because circumstances happen and everybody's ready to give up. And they're like, oh my God, like I was manifesting. I was like affirming for this, that, and they said this, or they said that, or I lost my job, or I lost this. It's okay. All of it is just a bridge. Don't give it so much importance. That's the thing. And that's where sometimes in my videos, I used to always say, like, suck it up, buttercup, because I've been through so much and I've lost, this quote unquote lost. You never lose unless you believe that you're losing it. If you lose everything in your life, and this is a bridge to everything that I want in my life, this is making room for the person who I adore. This is making it possible for us to be together. This is making it possible for me to live out my dream. This is making the space and the room for me to really be who I was born to be. Then you will literally manifest everything. You just stick it, you just persist through. Guys, I love you so much. I got to get on with a client. I will talk to you guys soon, okay?